Himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men. And being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself, and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross.
Yeah, Sally. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get you to get me a vacuum. This broom just ain't doing the job on carpet, okay? All right, yeah, put that in my memo, okay? Thanks. Oh, hello there. Wasn't really expecting anyone until afternoon, but hey, that's okay. Guests are always welcome here at Saunders Engineering. Mr. Saunders? Well, you're looking at him. But don't worry, everyone around here just calls me Bob. The broom? Well, my doctor told me I'm supposed to get some sort of physical exercise every day, so I'm just doing my best to obey orders. Are you the folks that wanted to see the training center? Good. I'll tell you what, why don't we start our tour over in the other building? I'm mighty proud of the training center we have here. How did it all get started? Glad you asked. It was about 7 years ago. My senior engineer and his family were out delivering Thanksgiving baskets.
This must be it, dear. Aren't we supposed to turn right on Maple Street?
I think that's a dead end. I think it's on up ahead.
Oh, you must be right. This is what happens when you don't set your GPS.
Wow, look at these houses.
They're really creepy.
Do people actually live here?
Can we go home now?
Not until we deliver this food. Poor people get hungry too, you know.
Who are we looking for, Mom?
Well, it says here on this card that their name is Ramirez. According to the City Rescue Mission, they're having a pretty tough time because they have a little girl with spina bifida.
Spina. Whatchamacallit?
It means they've got a baby who's crippled.
It says here that Mrs. Ramirez has been in bad health ever since the child was born. We sure have a lot
Well,
to be...
here we are.
I was afraid we'd find it.
All right, let's pray before we go up. Dear Father, please help us to be a good testimony to this family and help us to be thankful for all that we have. Amen.
I'm going to stay here and protect the car.
Richard, we're all going to help with the food.
All right, kids, let's get these groceries. Toby, you got the turkey?
Got it, Dad.
Mom, it stinks out here.
Jessica, these people don't even know the basics of personal hygiene. Richard, did you get all the groceries?
Got it. Wait, we're actually not going to give them this pie, are we? I thought you made it for us.
If it smells like this out here, imagine what it smells like inside. I'm waiting in the car.
Not in this neighborhood, you won't. Come on.
Clothespins, anyone?
Knock it off, Jess. Just breathe through your mouth. Maybe that'll keep her quiet.
All right, kids, now remember your testimony.
Yeah? What you want?
Hello, friend. I'm John Lewis, and this is my wife, Jeannie. And these are my kids. I mean, her kids. Our kids, Richard, Toby, and Jessica. We're from Sherwood Holiness Church, and we just came to bring you a little Thanksgiving cheer.
And?
So we brought you some goodies, from our kitchen to yours.
All right, man, whatever you say.
Pete, who is it?
It's just some of them church people. They brought us some food for Thanksgiving.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Ah, it sure is cold out here.
Pues, si tienes frío, ¿por qué no te vas adentro? Para que no te enfermes más.
Thank you for the food. We really do appreciate it.
My wife, she's been real sick.
So, where do you want us to put all this?
You can just leave it out there on the porch. The fridge ain't working.
Sounds good to me. All right, put it there, boys. Well, it's sure been nice meeting you.
Yep.
Yeah, we'd sure love to have you visit our church sometime.
Yeah, that'll be the day.
Well, gang, we better get headed home.
John, the tracks.
Say, I have a little pamphlet here I'd like you to read sometime. Maybe when you have a spare minute. It tells you about God's love and about how He sacrificed everything for you and me.
Mister, you're living in a dream world.
What do you mean?
Look, man, ain't nobody in this whole universe that ain't gonna be thinking about themselves, anybody but themselves first. Because everybody I've ever met, they're selfish.
But why do you think we're here then?
That's a good question, lady. Why are you here?
Because I love you.
Well, thanks. Don't you reckon that's a little sudden, though?
I didn't mean it
Sir,
that way.
I suggest you watch the way you
All
talk
right,
to
listen,
my
folks.
wife.
I'm sorry. I appreciate the food. I didn't ask for it, but y'all have a good night, anyways. All right?
Can you beat that?
I never in all my days have been so humiliated.
Come on, kids, in the car. Toby, go away from that window.
I'm gonna reek for a week.
Richard, where do you think you're going?
Think I'm gonna leave our pie with that jerk?
Get in the car.
Now.
Come on.
The ingratitude.
Well,
Dad?
I guess you can't expect any better from people like that. Ever since Lyndon B. Johnson and his supposed war on poverty, we now have generations of people who simply expect handouts.
Dad.
Johnson? I thought that was Nixon.
No, Nixon was the president that resigned before he got impeached.
Dad.
Impeached? I thought that was Clinton.
Clinton. Isn't that the one running for office now?
Dad.
No, that's his wife.
His wife.
That's a wife.
Yes. Anyway, they're all the same. Tax and spend. All they want for us to do is work so they can spend the money.
Dad.
What is it, son?
What will she eat when the turkey's gone?
Who?
The little girl.
What little girl?
I saw her back there. She looked crippled and she looked thin. What will she eat when the turkey's gone?
Don't worry about her, son. We have government programs for people like that.
But Toby couldn't stop worrying. All that day and throughout the next, he kept thinking about that little girl that he'd seen through the window. Toby wanted to believe his dad, but the idea occurred to him that no one had been taking care of her thus far. There was really only one person that Toby could turn to now.
Lord, I've got a problem, and I don't know what to do. What would you do if you were here? Wait. The verses I'm learning in the Christian program say that you humbled yourself and became a servant. Lord, help me be just like you.
Make me a servant like you, dear Lord, loving no matter the cost. Humble and weak, helping the weak, loving no matter the cost. Give me, Lord, a servant's heart. Here's my life, take every part. Give me, Lord, a servant's heart. Help me draw so close to you that your love comes shining through. Give me, Lord, a servant's heart. Give me, Lord, a servant's heart. Make me a witness like you, dear Lord, showing the love of the cross, sharing your word till all have heard, serving whatever the cost. Give me, Lord, a servant's heart. Here's my life, take every part. Give me, Lord, a servant's heart. Help me draw so close to you that your love comes shining through. Give me, Lord, a servant's heart. Give me, Lord, a servant's
Although Toby had committed himself to helping the little girl, he wasn't exactly sure how to go about it, especially since his dad didn't see the need as he did. Toby decided that he was going to seek the advice of someone much older and much wiser than himself, his big brother.
Ricky.
Will you quit calling me that? Mom and Dad quit calling me that 5 years ago.
Okay, Rich, I'm sorry. Ricky,
What?
what's going to happen to that little girl?
Well, you just forget about it. We don't even know those people.
But Jesus does, and Jesus cares about everybody.
You're exactly right. But you're not Jesus.
But I'm supposed to be like Jesus.
This is like talking to a brick wall.
Well, I'm going to take my money.
You can't do that.
Why not?
Lots of reasons. First off, how would you even get there?
I'll walk.
You wouldn't make it by next Christmas.
Then I'll ride the bus.
You don't even know how to ride the bus.
Do too.
Do not.
Do too.
How?
Me and Mom rode the bus to the library.
How am I supposed to reason with a 2-year-old?
I am not 2 years old.
Well, you could have fooled me. Grow up and get with the program.
What do you mean?
The government takes care of people like that?
Well, they're not doing a very good job.
Why can't you just be a normal kid?
Ricky, you didn't even see the little girl. She needs help.
You're impossible.
Big brother, if you really want to make a difference, you got to go ahead and be a little bit different.
Whatever.
Our God commands us to be different, not just a copy of the world. Everything's reversed, putting others first, showing Jesus' love, pleasing Christ above. You gotta make a difference. You gotta be a little different. Love your family and string as you let them. March to the beat of a different drum. Don't let this world press you into its mold. Go and seek God's stand and be bold. Follow the Lord, trust in His word. Lots of time, be a little different. Jesus has given me a new life. Now I'm a servant of the King, serving day and night, walking in the light, singing a new song, choosing right from wrong. Then we gotta make a difference. You gotta be a little different. Not talking about being strangers to let them. Marching to the beat of a different drum. Don't let this world press you into its mold. Go and seek God's stand and be bold. Follow the Lord, trust in His word. Let the God be a little different.
Have you tried calling Aunt Harriet? Maybe you stopped off there on the way home from school.
But that's the first place I tried.
I've checked everywhere between here and the school playground.
And he's not at the ball field or the donut shop. And none of the neighbors have seen him either.
John, we have to call the police.
You're
Wait a
probably
minute.
right.
Is Toby's piggy bank gone?
What?
Why didn't I think of this before?
He's run away.
Can I have his room?
Jessica.
Don't you see? Ever since we took the basket to that family, He's been going on and on about that crippled kid.
What crippled kid?
Oh, you know that little girl, crippled girl.
You mean the girl with spina bifida?
Yeah. He said he was going to take her his money. She needs help.
Toby's the one that needs help.
Jessica, go see if his piggy bank is gone.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't worry, dear. He's probably just playing somewhere with one of his friends.
I don't know, Dad. He was pretty serious.
John, it's almost 5 o'clock, and it's going to be dark soon.
Don't get all worked up. Everything's gonna be okay.
But he's only a child. My baby in that part of town. After dark. John.
Mom, he'll be okay.
Toby's piggy bank is gone.
Everybody in the car, now.
No time was wasted getting into the car. However, John was in such a hurry that when he backed out of the driveway, he went a little too far and hit the fire hydrant right on the other side of the street.
This is not my day.
Now, dear, don't get upset. I know that the car's new, but remember, all things work together for good.
Hey, Dad, is it raining?
That's not rain, Jessica.
Wow, look. The water's shooting 20 feet into the air.
How embarrassing.
John, we need to get going.
I'm trying to get going, dear. Can't you see the bumpers hung on the crazy fire hydrant?
Well, you don't have to take it out on me.
Hey, Dad, the trunk's popped open, and it's filling up with water.
John, there's water all over the floor now.
It's up to my ankles.
Jeannie, take the wheel. Come on, kids, help me push.
But I'll get soaked.
You're all wet anyway.
Help me push.
Well, they finally got the car moving again, but not before everything was sopping wet. The trunk wouldn't close, and there was at least 4 inches of water inside the car. The ride across town seemed like it took forever. By this point, even Jessica and Richard were starting to get a little worried. It was going to be dark soon.
I should have called the police before I left the house. Now I've left my cell phone at home.
Well, whenever this light turns green, just a few more blocks and we'll be there.
I don't even think. You know what? You know what I think? I think he might be kidnapped.
Everything will be fine, Mom. We'll find him.
I don't even think that I told him I loved him this morning. What kind of mother am I anyway? This is just all my fault.
You're a great mom.
If this is anybody's fault, it's mine.
What do you mean?
Well, last night, Toby kept trying to get my attention, but I was too busy. I was preparing my Sunday school lesson. Finally, I sort of raised my voice a little bit.
You yelled, Dad.
Okay, I yelled. But I promise, if we ever find that precious little fella, I'll never get upset with him again.
Wait, look, there he is.
Wait,
Where? Where is he?
Yep, that's him, looking in the window.
Praise the Lord.
Looking in a window? How do you like that? Scares the living daylights out of us, ruins my new car, makes me late for my deacon's meeting, and... Wait, I've got an idea.
Are you all right, Dad?
Oh, I'm going to teach that kid a lesson he'll never forget.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to sneak up behind him.
John, he's been...
Oh, I wish I had a video camera.
John, I wouldn't...
Shh, Jeannie, watch. Stick him up, kid. Oh!
Whoa! Look at him run!
Do you want me to drive, dear?
No thanks, dear. I would rather live.
Very funny.
Way to go, Dad.
Too bad you didn't have your video camera, huh?
Very funny.
I was trying to warn you that Pastor Bert has been teaching them self-defense in the boys' clubs on Thursday nights.
Well, it really didn't hurt all that bad. I'm just trying to build up his self-confidence.
Oh, then you're doing an excellent job, dear.
Hey, I'm just going to pull in this parking lot. There he is, so I'll see if I can catch up to him. Toby, it's me, Dad.
Boy, Dad, am I glad to see you. You won't believe what just happened.
Just get in the car, son.
This big, mean, ugly-looking creature just tried to attack me.
Toby, that was...
Terrible, son. I'm glad you're all right.
Yeah, so am I. I hope I didn't hurt him too badly.
Oh, only his pride, dear.
Huh?
Never mind, son.
What's up with all this water in the car? And why is the trunk open?
Now, listen, son, I'll explain everything later, but first off, you need to tell me what you were doing out there all alone.
I went to see Esme.
Who's Esme?
Mrs. Ramirez's little girl. She's cute and smart, and she's just not like a baby like the card said. She's just little, and she can't walk because she has a hole in her back.
Toby, are you making this up?
No, and whenever her head gets filled up with too much water, the doctor has to drain it out.
Really?
Yeah, she's been to the hospital 11 times.
Poor thing.
How did you find out all this?
Esme told me, well, after I gave her my money.
Wait, you gave Esme your money?
Yeah, that way then she could have something to eat when the turkey was gone.
Son, you have a really soft heart, just like your father.
Dad, I've been thinking, why can't we help the Ramirez's?
What do you mean, help?
Find Mr. Ramirez a job. Dad, everything's broken. You can fix anything.
Toby, it's not that simple. We don't even know these people.
Mr. Ramirez, he probably doesn't even have a car to get to work.
Couldn't you drive him?
Listen, I'm glad you have a soft heart, but what you're suggesting would require a great deal of time and money.
Toby, these people don't even know the basics of personal hygiene.
Personal what?
She means they're dirty.
Mom, I've been thinking, you're such a great house cleaner. Couldn't you teach Mrs. Ramirez a couple house cleaning tips?
John, you talk to him.
Listen, son, what your mother's trying to say is, these people, they're different than we are. They have no breeding.
Breeds? Like Grandpa's cows? Some are Jerseys,
Wait,
some are...
So that's why it smells like a barn in there.
No. That's not what I meant. Listen, Toby, we have to be very careful of our testimony, and these people probably have some really bad habits. They're just not like us.
I see.
What's wrong, Toby?
Nothing.
What is it?
It's just about the verses I had to say in the Christmas program.
What verses?
Saying when we humble ourselves and forget our reputations and become servants.
That's Philippians chapter 2.
Dad, I hope someday I'm as smart as you and can understand the Bible. I guess I had it figured out all wrong.
It had been a long evening, and everyone was tired by the time they got back home. No one even argued with Dad when he told them to get ready for bed immediately after supper, and before long, everyone was asleep. Well, almost everyone. John couldn't stop thinking about Toby and Philippians chapter 2. Finally, at about 2 a.m., John got out of bed, he grabbed his Bible, and he started reading one scripture after another. Before long, he was broken.
Lord Jesus, I've called myself a Christian for over 30 years. But Lord, I'm such a hypocrite. Well, I've pretended to have it all together. I've pretended to know so much. But Lord, tonight you show me what I really am, full of pride and selfishness. You've commanded me to love others as you did, but even Toby knows more about that than I do. You were spit on, insulted, tortured, and even killed. And I feel like I've sacrificed when I deliver a turkey for the church. Lord, please forgive me my sins. Forgive me my pride. Make me clean and pure again. And Lord, please help me to be like you.
John was serious about wanting God to change his heart. Tuesday on his lunch break, he went by the Ramirez house with a couple bags of groceries. After knocking for a few minutes and with no answer, he let himself inside. The whole place was completely dark except for the light of a TV blaring loudly in the corner. The floors were completely covered with trash and there were cockroaches everywhere. On a bare mattress in the corner lay a frail little girl about 5 years old. Her hair was long and uncombed and her feet were blue with cold. On the mattress right beside her lay Mrs. Ramirez, and her husband Pete sat in front of on the floor in front of the TV. John had never seen such human misery before. That day after work, he came back with the whole family. After giving Esme some warm pajamas, John went to fix the refrigerator while Jeannie prepared dinner. Richard, Jessica, and Toby started the long process of cleaning up the place. The next morning, John paid a visit to my office. At that time, Ebenezer Scrooge and I, we had a lot in common. In just 7 years, my company had gone from 1 employee to over 100. I was rich, I was frugal, and I was proud of it. As much as I hated to admit it, a lot of my company's success was due to the work of my senior engineer, John Lewis. And although I enjoyed kidding him about his religious habits, I suppose he was the closest thing that I had to a friend.
Morning, Bob. Got a second?
Yeah, come on in, John. Have a seat. Hey, I love these new designs, by the way. Ooh. These new designs, they're perfect. Just like I always say, if you want a job done right, give it to John, okay?
Well, thank you, sir. Sir, there's something I want to talk to you about.
Go ahead.
Well, you know, ever since we moved into the new building, we've spent a wad on custodial service.
That's good. Oh, I mean, yeah, no one's more aware of that than I am.
Well, I've been thinking, maybe it's time we hire a full-time custodian.
It's not a bad idea. You got anyone in mind? Because dependable help is hard to find these days.
Well, that's what I want to talk to you about.
Great. If he's okay by you, he's hired, okay?
It's not quite that simple.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, he's not dependable, he has absolutely no skills, and I can't think of a single positive thing to say about him. But I'm willing to stick on him like glue to make sure he follows through.
You can't be serious.
I'm afraid I am.
Well, what's this guy to you?
He's who I might be, but for the grace of God.
Well, John, if it were anyone else, I'd probably just laugh them out of the office, but I tell you what, if hiring this guy is going to satisfy some religious whim of yours, then go ahead and be my guest, okay?
Thank you, sir.
But remember, if anything happens, I'm holding you personally responsible.
Yes, sir. You won't regret it, I hope. Oh, about salary.
You worked out a budget for this guy?
Yes.
You thought of everything, haven't you?
Well, he has a lot of hospital bills, so I'm willing to take a 10% decrease in my salary to help cover it.
You would do that? For some derelict?
Bob, the Lord has showed me several things recently. He showed me that while I thought I was living the part, I was so full of pride and selfishness. He convicted me of my sins, and He forgave me. Now I'm just doing what I've been taught.
I don't believe this. You spend more time at church than I do at home. You know what the guys around here call you? They call you St. John. Now, if you're a sinner, then I'm the Easter Bunny.
Going to church doesn't make anybody into a Christian. The only way to become God's child is to trust Christ, ask forgiveness of your sins, receive His free gift of salvation, and turn from your wicked ways. By God's grace, I've done that.
That sounds simple. What's all this hassle about anyway?
Bob, when Jesus came to earth, He sacrificed absolutely everything He had to help others. His time, His money, even His life. He commands His followers to do the same, to love as He loved.
John, if I ever saw that kind of Christian, I might just become one myself. What great theologian has been filling your head with such notions anyway?
No theologian, Bob. An 8-year-old boy, actually.
Well, about this pay cut. I think I can spring for this. I wouldn't want you to become a martyr. At least not yet.
Thank you, sir.
But remember, if anything happens, I'm holding you personally responsible.
Yes, sir.
Finding Pete Ramirez a job turned out to be the easy part. Teaching him the value of hard work? Well, that was going to take a little more effort.
Oh, hello, Mr. Lewis. What brings you out on such a cold day?
Well, I thought Pete might like some help shoveling the snow off the drive.
That's very thoughtful of you. Actually, we don't own a shovel.
That's fine, I brought an extra.
Okay, I'll go get him. Actually, Mr. Lewis, I wanted to say thank you to you and your family for all that you've done. You know, ever since Esme and I have been sick, we haven't had a lot of hope in our family. But then, you know, you guys came and you brought us the tract, and I've been reading it, and I can't describe it, but there's hope in our little family again, and I don't know how to thank you or you guys for that.
I'm glad we could help.
I'll go get Pete.
¡Au!
¡Pete! ¡Despierta!
Mujer, ¿qué quieres?
¡Ve a la puerta!
¿No ves que estaba descansando? Crazy woman, my word.
Morning, Pete.
Hey, John, how are you?
Pretty good. I thought you might like some help shoveling the snow off the drive and walks.
Why, man? I'm not going anywhere.
Well, the mailman, he might slip and then he'd sue you.
Oh, no. I'd lose my Mustang.
You got a real sense of humor there, Pete. Come on, let's get this shoveled.
Yeah, man, look, I ain't got a coat.
No problem. Brought an extra.
Yeah, it's, looks like you got it from Goodwill, huh?
Something like that.
Probably one of the worst coats I've ever owned. It's a little snug, too. But I ain't got no gloves.
No problem.
Well, didn't see that coming. Hey, I wouldn't reckon that you have a...
One hat coming right up.
Thanks, John. Thanks a lot. Give me a second, the gloves don't fit. At least you could have figured out my hand size. I mean, there's hand models out there. You know that, right?
All right, let's get this done.
Let's not.
Oh, You need to be ready to start work next Monday. I hired a guy from the custodial service to come by and show you how to clean up. And, well, I'll pick you up around 7:15 and we'll head over to the...
Whoa! 7:15?
Well, I'm always in the office by 7:30. The early bird gets the worm, they say.
Look, man, I don't want no worms.
But sunrise, it's the best part of the day.
I wouldn't know.
You've never seen a sunrise?
John, if God had wanted me to see the sunrise, he'd have made it happen at noon.
I'll pick you up at 7:15.
Whatever, man. They shoot people at sunrise, John.
Oh, I bought you some overalls and work boots, too. Next Saturday, we're going to head over to the landscaping company, and they're going to show you how to take care of the grounds. Any questions?
Yeah. Slow down, man. You're making me run out of breath. I don't know. I just, why are you doing all this?
Because I'm a Christian.
Nah. See, look, man, everybody that comes knocking on my door, I don't know, they all say that they're Christians, but I don't know. Truth is, they just as soon spit on me as to look at me, and I mean, they bring gifts and stuff, but it ain't anything that they're gonna miss. Truth is, your boy Toby and you are the only two people I've ever met that just seem to care.
Look, man, I know your wife hasn't been feeling real well recently, so Jeannie and the kids are coming by later to help her clean up the house a bit. And I've got a guy coming this afternoon to fix the leaks in your roof.
Look, man, I ain't got any money to pay for that.
You don't have to worry about that. He'll bill me. And you can pay me back after you get your first paycheck.
Are you sure? Thanks, John.
Oh, by the way, have you ever considered taking classes to get your GED?
No, I've taken night classes before, and turns out you gotta learn English, you gotta pass English, and look, man, I don't know if you noticed, but inglés y yo no tenemos nada en común.
I'd never have guessed. Well, it just so happens that I put myself through grad school teaching beginning English to college freshmen. As of this moment, you have a private tutor.
Look, John, I just ain't smart enough, man.
I'm not smart enough.
Well, if you ain't smart either, what makes you think you're gonna teach me anything? Look, man, I gotta go take a nap for Saturday.
All right, I'll see you later, man.
I'll catch you later.
"'Twas the season to be jolly, but for the Lewis family, it was the season for work. John's biggest job was getting Pete Ramirez out of bed every morning. After school, Jeannie would pick the kids up and head to the Ramirez place, the car loaded down with mops, brooms, food, and, yes, plenty of air freshener. They weren't going to have time this year to make all the fancy baked goods they normally did or to even comb them all for all those good deals, but the thing is, as the music of Christmas began to fill the air, they felt more in the spirit of Christmas than they ever had before.
Let
hadn't expected John's religious experiment to last much more than a week, but it had been nearly 4 weeks since he asked me to hire Pete, and I saw no signs of him giving up. What surprised me even more was the change that I saw taking place in Pete, and it irritated me. I don't know why. I guess I always had the hypocrisy of Christians as my own excuse for my rejection of Christ. But here was one man who was willing to sacrifice a great deal in order to make a difference in another man's life, and he stood to gain nothing in return. As long as I live, I'll never forget that one frosty December morning as I was sitting in my office looking out the window at all the dreary, lifeless snow and ice. The realization suddenly hit me. The most desolate thing of all on that bleak midwinter morn was my cold, cold heart.
Hey, Bob, you wanted to see me?
Yeah, John. Come on in, have a seat. Oh, I wouldn't.
Are these the same cookies I brought you 4 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Is there something you want to talk to me about?
Oh, you and your family are leaving town tomorrow for Christmas, right?
No, actually, we're staying home this year.
Oh, good.
Anything else?
Nope. I mean, yeah. It's,
Maybe this is a bad time.
no. It's about Pete.
Oh no, has he done something terrible?
No. No. Quite the contrary, actually. He's, I'll never forget the first day you dragged him in here. He moves slower than a turtle with 4 broken legs. But, I don't know, the last week and a half, 2 weeks, he's changed. I haven't caught him sitting around on the job, and there's some light in his eyes. He's showing some initiative.
Well, I'm glad you're pleased.
Yeah.
Is that it?
No, it's not. Do you remember several weeks back when I told you that if I ever saw a real Christian, I might become one myself? Well, I've seen one.
What do you mean?
John, it may surprise you to know, I grew up in a Christian home. I went to church every Sunday. I read my Bible. I prayed. But I bailed out a long time ago. I couldn't believe that the God who had everything would give everything to someone who deserved absolutely nothing. I've known hundreds of so-called Christians before in my life, and the thing is, they lived just as selfishly as I did. But this Christmas, it begins a new life for me, because for the first time, I've truly seen God's love.
That's wonderful, Bob.
I received the free gift of salvation from Christ last night, John, because I saw Jesus in you.
When I enter heaven's glory and I see my Savior's face, I will offer him 10,000 years of praise. Then I'll find that special one in whose life I saw God's Son. And through tears of joy, with trembling lips, these words I'll say. When I stand before my Father to receive my life's reward, and my soul is bathed in God's eternal day. When this race on earth is run, and God sees the works I've done, More than anything, I long to hear my Father say, I saw Jesus in you. I saw Jesus in you. I could hear his voice in the words you said. I saw Jesus in you. In your eyes I saw his care. I could see his love was there. You were faithful, and I saw Jesus in you.
No one who had ever seen the Ramirez household before would have recognized it this Christmas. From the gleaming lights and the crystal clean windows to the aroma of fresh-baked cinnamon rolls, nothing was quite the same. The Lewis family, by unanimous vote, had decided themselves to go without Christmas presents, and as a result, there was a heaping pile of presents underneath the tree in the Ramirez living room. After dinner, Pete asked John if they could take a walk.
I am so full.
Yeah, me too. That was good food.
Don't
All
be
right.
too long. We
Yeah,
still have pumpkin pie, you know.
And then there's gifts to open.
Yeah, we'll be back soon, baby. I love you.
I love you too. Don't miss me, Kay.
Love you too.
Thanks, Jeannie. I know. You gotta talk to your wife, man. That's just creepy.
Wow. That food was so good.
Yeah, it was. It really was. You know, when she says it out of context, it kind of creeps me out. But I feel the love when she cooks, man. Like, my stomach feels the love.
Yeah, she can cook.
Yeah,
She brought so much food, we could barely fit it into the trunk of the car.
Speaking about the trunk of your car, I noticed the other day it still looks really bad. That's like, what, 3.5 weeks now?
Yeah, I'm taking it to get fixed tomorrow.
What happened?
Just a little accident.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there. Speaking about accidents, I was in town the other day, and you know how the city is. They never really fix anything properly. Apparently, a few weeks back, some guy just pummeled this fire hydrant, and with as cold as it's been lately, it burst open, and there's a solid block of ice, just straight up, I don't know, 30 feet into the air, man. And what I want to know is what kind of a genius knocks a fire hydrant over?
Some genius.
Yeah, or a crazy nut. Must have been having a bad day.
Probably.
You know, I've had plenty of bad days myself. I can't believe everything that's happened, just even within the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, God, he's been good to us, hasn't he?
He sure has. And with all this food and proper clothing, Esme she ain't the same kid.
She isn't the same.
She sure ain't. And that boy of yours, Toby, and every time he walks into my house, he puts a smile on everybody's face.
My little buddy Toby.
Things are taking off at work, man. Mr. Saunders is even talking about giving me a raise, and he's offering to pay for all the night classes I want to take and all the English classes I need to retake. He's a really good guy. Just kind of weird because when I first met him, he just I don't know. He seemed like that kind of like a Scrooge kind of a guy. But the more that I get to know him, I don't know. The more he reminds me of you. He's a good guy, Mr. Saunders.
Pete, have you thought any more about that verse I talked to you about, John 3:16?
Yeah, I have. My neighbors and I, we've heard that verse a lot, but I don't know. I don't think I've ever had any desire to really hear what it had to say, I guess, until you told me about it.
That wasn't me, Pete. That was the still small voice of the Holy Spirit.
Really?
Yep. Jesus Christ, he wants to forgive you of your sins. He wants to live inside your heart.
Inside my heart. Huh. Ain't that something? Imagine that. Christ inside of me. Pedro Ramirez.
Well, that's about it. Pete was the beginning of our training center, and the rest, they say, is history. God just keeps bringing along one person after another who needs help, and a lot of them get the help that they're seeking. A lot of them, they turn out to be real dependable workers as well. What's that? Oh, did Pete trust Christ? I get asked that question every time I tell the story. But before I answer that, let me ask you a question. Should John feel that his time is wasted, even if Pete never comes to know Jesus Christ? I don't think so. Jesus Christ himself had 12 disciples. Even one of them turned out to be a failure. But even I like a happy ending. So let me, by the grace of God, introduce you to my Christian manager of our training center. Hey, Pete, come on out here. Got some folks I'd like you to meet.
Hey, Mr. Saunders. Well, I want to thank you guys for visiting the training center. I overheard him tell you my story. It's really not that great, and it's very more, it's a lot more common than what you'd think. But I guess I just want to give you an update. It's been about 8 years now since I received Christ, and right now I'm currently working on a degree in architecture. Our goal is to build a training center within the proximity of 5 miles in every single holiness church in the U.S. We're trying to let people know that Jesus cares about them. And I guess I'm thankful, personally, that, that John and Bob went out of the way to let me know that Jesus cared about me. Didn't happen very often within the church, but regardless, I'm thankful for the grace that Jesus showed, the grace that can change a life for eternity, and he certainly changed mine. Thank you, Mr. Saunders. As an individual, as a person, I don't really know why God allowed me to be Pete. I think part of it has to do with the fact that him and I have a lot in common. And I've gotten to know Pete very well, and I know that some of you probably don't know me. I know a lot of you probably don't know my story, but I want you to know that, first of all, if any of you here don't know Jesus and don't know what the kind of love that we're talking about, if anybody here has absolutely no clue what's going on and you're confused, there's answers up here. There's people up here who are willing to pray with you, and we just want you to know that Jesus loves you. But this particular message isn't necessarily for someone who doesn't know Jesus. It's for us, the Christians. I once heard a hospice worker once define the word patient as one who suffers. And he said, to some degree, I guess we're all patients. We all suffer. but I don't think all of us actually show people that we care about them. Yesterday, I had a 4-year-old nephew. His name's Elijah Gray. But yesterday, he received Christ. And it's been the most incredible thing to me as his uncle, Eric Vasquez. This isn't Pete talking. This is just you and me. We're going to figure out what this message really means. My nephew, 4 years old, received Christ. And I know to you it's probably just some cute notion. To me, it's a miracle. Because my father was a pastor who was incarcerated when I was 13 for drug abuse. And my oldest brother, the middle child, and I, we lived completely angry lives. We hated everything. We were angry. I know I particularly hated the church. I hated pastors. And the notion that, it's only been 6 years, but the fact that I have a nephew that's 4 years old that received Christ with a heritage like that, and it only happened because one person was faithful. His name was Patrick Davis. I'm sure some of you know him. And I think if you knew exactly how many people in that choir, or how many people backstage, or how many people even in this crowd have the story, kind of like mine, and if you knew how critical it was that one particular person in their lives was faithful to God, I think we would live our lives a little bit differently. And I want to challenge you today. This is just between you and me, and between you and God. But I want you to know that there's people out there, there's a ton of Pete's out there who need to know that Jesus loves them. Love your neighbor just like you love yourself. I'm going to leave that with you.
To Jesus I surrender, all to Him I freely give. I will ever love and trust Him, in His presence daily live. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all to Jesus. I surrender, humbly at His feet I bow. Worldly pleasures are forsaken. Take me, Jesus, take me now. All to Jesus I surrender. Lord, I give myself to Thee. Fill me with Thy love and power. Let Thy blessing fall on me. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. I surrender all. To be like Jesus.
Let's stand together tonight across the building, if you would, please. Heads are bowed and eyes are closed, and we're just doing some inventory in our own hearts. You've seen and heard more than just a good program tonight. You've been reminded of the reality of how Christ can change a life, make a difference in the life of others. One of our own's already on the altar. Trey's here. He wants to live his life like Jesus. Me too. Me too. I just wonder tonight, maybe we'll do things upside down. I just wonder if there's anybody else here among the saved and the sanctified crowd. I wonder if there's anybody else here who just sort of feels compelled after a challenge like that to publicly step out and come. Humble yourself around an altar of prayer. Kindly forget about everybody else and by that say, God, I want to make a difference. I want to live my life in such a way that it brings glory and honor unto you, and it reaches out and has an impact on the lives of others. I just want you to come. It's okay. We've got the altars. We've got the front here. We can kneel around the steps. I know it's the desire of most hearts in this building. But I'm just saying, if you sort of feel that impression, that inward compulsion to come, just sort of say afresh and anew, God, I'm not just going through the motions. I'm not going to just live a life filled with some type of facade. I'm going to be a Christian. Anybody else need to come? I'm talking to us. Does anybody else need to? Now I wonder. There's a few Johns and a few Bobs and a few more coming. But now I wonder, do we have any Pete's here whose life's all a wreck and a mess, and you're just not sure which way to turn or what to do? This be a good place, and you won't be alone. Why don't you slip in right now and come? We're waiting on you. Wherever you are, just slip out. Don't worry about who's next to you. Just put your hand on them. They'll know what to do. Anybody else want to join us? We're waiting about 10 seconds, and then we're going to gather in all that can and will to pray. But if you need to pray tonight, whether it's to recommit afresh and anew your life for the service of the King and the kingdom, or whether it's you that needs to come and say, God, I need you to forgive me my sins. I need you to usher me into your kingdom. Whatever the case may be tonight, I want you to know there's room. And He's here. Others are still coming. I'm waiting. Who else? Who else? Come quickly. We want to pray with you. We want to pray not just for you, but with you. For it's our desire. It's my desire. I want to live like Him. Anybody else? Well, as most of you know, we're not afraid of the altar around Union Bible College. I've got a lot of friends out there. And I especially want you ministers that are visiting with us tonight, would you just step out and come and pray with some of these? Come and pray like it's your church, like these are your people. And then all that can and will, would you just gather in if you'd like to pray with us? We appreciate your prayers and we have confidence in them. We want you to come and help us bombard heaven together. All that can and will are welcome around the altar. Find somebody to pray with. If you're not going to join us tonight, you can be seated or you can be dismissed reverently and quietly. We thank you so much for visiting us here at UBCA.